I spoke in the car about the hole at the center of this donut. And what you and Harlan did that fateful night seems, at first glance, to fill that hole perfectly. A donut hole in a donut's hole. But we must look a little closer. And when we do, we see the donut hole has a hole in its center. It is not a donut hole, but a smaller donut with its own hole. And our donut is not a hole at all.
Look, I understand that this is amusing for you.
Why was I hard?
Welcome back, everybody, to the Film Bros Podcast. My name is Abraham Espinoza. I'm joined with my co-host,
Nick.
And Isaiah.
Oh,
we did it. How are you doing today?
I think we're doing good. It's a little different. We got a digital Isaiah over there.
Yeah, unfortunately.
COVID finally got me. So.
Yeah.
No one's safe these days, man.
3 years in, he got hit with it.
Yeah, we're taking a little bit of precaution here, but we still love him, and he still got a lot to say, I bet.
Yeah, after this being just my first watch with this movie, I got a ton to say, and I'm really excited to go on to the second one, just seeing what they did here with the first film.
That's what I'm talking about.
I watched this movie today, and it's insane. I love it. It was a good movie. It was a really good movie.
Wasn't it good?
It kind of made me mad because I couldn't figure out who did it.
Okay, that was my first question to you guys. Were you able to figure it out beforehand? Are you big-brained? Because I was definitely not the first time I watched this.
No.
Like, I feel like an idiot.
Yeah, I couldn't figure anything out until the very end when it was told to me.
Yeah, straight up, LeBlanc is saying, like, these are all the clues. You just totally missed all of them.
They're right in front of him.
They're right in front of us. It's like a donut.
Yeah,
you know?
So what movie are we talking about?
We're talking about the 2019 film Knives Out, directed and written by Rian Johnson. This film is basically a murder mystery, a whodunit, some might say. It's really just about the Thromby family and like pretty much the leeches connected to this family, most importantly connected to the main man. I think his name is Harlan Thromby, right? He's this older guy, and he has a caretaker by the name of Marta, and we kind of pretty much get to see an accident that occurs and a murder that happens in this mansion of sorts. And we have our detective. His name is Benoit Blanc. He comes in, and it's his job to find out the murder. He's got all the clues right in front of him. It's right under his nose, and it's his job to figure it all out. And we get to see, is it the sister? Is it the brother? Is it the son? Is it was it really Marta? We don't know. At least at the beginning. So that's pretty much what it is. It was not streaming anywhere, unfortunately. It was on Netflix for a while. I think I said that last week. Yeah. And I think it's rated R. There is some...
No, it's PG-13.
Is it PG-13?
Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering, because there's like hardly any blood. There's very little cuss words.
I think I want to say, there's like 20 cuss words, I think.
Yeah, not very bad.
Yeah, I was reading something actually on IMDb where they were originally going to go for an R rating, but Rian Johnson wanted families to be able to go see this together, so they cut out a lot of the F words that were originally used in the script and substituted them with much, I guess you could say, less crude cuss words.
Right.
I don't know if that can be a thing, but yeah.
Pretty cool. So, like I was saying, not streaming anywhere. If you do not want spoilers, stop now. We are going to get into it. We're going to talk about our favorite scenes, the craziest twists, the biggest bro moments, and the best quotes we had. So if you don't want any of that, pause it, go watch it, come back, hear what we have to say, and I guess we can go ahead and get started.
Yeah. And this was your pick, by the way.
Oh, it was. Yes.
So we could let you open up with your first favorite scene.
I did want to talk about the intro.
Yeah, the intro is actually my first favorite scene.
Oh, okay. So this is what I put about it. I said it's unoriginal, yet captivating to see how Mr. Thrombey has died. Because they every time with movies like this, I've seen thousands of movies do this, where it's like, oh, everything's all good, fine and dandy, and the housekeeper finds the dead body, and they scream and drop their stuff.
Yeah.
It's not very original, but it's a good way to get you captivated.
Yeah.
It's a good way to see that you see this old man with his throat slit, blood everywhere, and you're like, okay, what the heck happened here?
Yeah. No, I thought I put it because it's so, like you said unoriginal. I said unique. Literally, I said the opening is so unique. I love it.
Okay.
That's how I wrote it down. And it's unique because it's so captivating. I think the way that they showed it. Because, like you said, it's so original for people and almost, it's copying each other that they do, like you said, the maid finds the dead body and screams. So seeing this finally, I really enjoyed it. I liked it.
Yeah. It comes to set up our environment as well. We get like this nice walkthrough of this beautiful mansion. Isaiah, how did you feel about just the details of this mansion, dude? I feel like the set design here, I feel like you would appreciate really a lot.
I did. It was something that I immediately was drawn to. I loved like all of the all the interior decorations, like, and how kind of eclectic they are. Like seeing these like huge eyes behind like Harlan's desk, like for some reason, and like all these like super elaborate portraits, and just the mansion inside is just beautiful. There was one thing immediately when we get to see the inside of it that I mentioned to Alexa whenever we finally got to see it. I was like, man, dude, that freaking mansion is beautiful, isn't it? And she was like, yeah, that thing is sick. And it even gets even cooler to see like that there's like secret, windows that you can come in a certain way from, and that, there's not just one way up to the third floor of the house or anything like that. There's a couple different ways. Yeah, I just enjoyed the entire just look of this film, and not only where it was set, but also like how people are dressed, how the scenes are shot, how it's colored, all that stuff. Everything's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it sets us up with our first main question: who killed Harlan Thrombey? And that's kind of the main question of the film. That's where we start, and then we start getting introduced to the whole family, which is my next favorite scene. Is when it's Linda, and it's her husband. I think his name is Dom. Do you have that by chance?
Richard.
Okay, Richard. So it's Linda, Richard, and Meg. They're all getting interviewed by, it's Lakeith Stanfield. I think his name is, I have it written down here.
Elliot.
Yes, Lieutenant Elliot is his name. So he's like the main guy who's interviewing them. And he's asking them all kinds of questions, like, when'd you guys get here? What'd you guys hear? What were you doing when you got here? Were you helping out the maids and all that stuff? And just in the background, there's this like shadowed figure. We don't know what happens, but every time like something happens, you just hear a little piano stroke.
Yes.
And it catches you off guard, and it already makes you feel like this guy is the true powerhouse of the movie, because he's just back there just ingesting all of the info, know?
I had this scene, what the heck? Specifically, I had told Isaiah, I said, dude, did you not laugh seeing Daniel Craig's character in the back? And he was like, well, when? I said, just seeing them. He's just chilling there, and then when something like happens, he'll press that button, and I literally was busting out laughing.
Yeah.
I thought it was so funny.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things that I was wondering about the entire scene too, or that I liked, was that whenever he would hit that piano key, it was like a trigger for Elliot to ask a question, or to be like, move on to the next question or something like that, or ask this one specifically.
Yeah, he had it was some ulterior motive we didn't know that what that little piano stroke stood for. I like this scene too because it's so creative how they do it, and he's interviewing these people while also showing a little bit of that character, because he's talking to Linda, and this is when LeBlanc. I'm saying Matthew LeBlanc. Isn't that freaking from Friends?
From Friends.
Yeah. No, Benoit Blanc. He's kind of coming into the fold, asking more questions, getting involved, and he's asking Linda about the paper company that I think his name is Mark, right? Mark the brother.
Mark.
Walt?
Well, it's Michael Shannon's character.
Yeah, Walt.
Walt. Well, of course.
Walter.
He's asking about his because he runs the news and he's doing all that, and he's asking Linda about it, and Linda starts to catch on to Blanc, and she's like, "You think that you're gonna come on here and ask me questions, and so I can start bad mouthing my brother or my whatever he is," and then the scene automatically switches to Richard, and Richard's like, "Oh, I'll tell you all about him. Like, I don't care. He's this.
Yeah.
He sucks. He's running a newspaper when he shouldn't be." Like, it was a really interesting way to show their characters in a very simple interview scene, Yeah. And just the way that it's intercut, I think is so purposeful, and I really, really enjoyed it, because an interview scene kind of it could be very boring.
Very boring. I mean, I feel like an interview scene for most movies are a time filler.
Right.
And these interview scenes were essential to the movie. And I think that's something that did work out, was like some of these scenes you would think like it doesn't belong there, but like it worked out perfectly.
Yeah. I especially like them too.
One of the...
Oh, no, what do you got?
I was actually going to say, one of the things I loved about the whole interview scene too is that we get to really dive into each of these characters and how they could potentially have motivation to kill Harlan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we find out Richard has been lying about cheating, and Harlan knows about that, so that could potentially be a motive for Richard to want to kill Harlan.
Right.
And then Linda also has a motivation to kill Harlan, who I think he invests some sort of money into her business or something like that, right?
I think so.
And then Meg's mom, Joni, she's been like double dipping from her father or her father-in-law for forever, and like paying for Meg's college with his money, but also like funneling it into her own business.
Mm-hmm.
And then Walter, he finds out like he's going to be getting cut from the freaking from the publishing company that his dad owns, and then Ransom is getting cut out of the will. So
it's like
they're like, everyone has a motivation to want to try to kill this guy, and it's interesting showing that all through the lens of interviewing, and then also getting to like feeling like an audience member and knowing stuff that the people in the movie don't.
Yes, I love being in that position where you're like, oh crap!
Oh, if only you knew.
Yeah, if only you knew.
If
like,
only you knew. Like, oh, you'd be so mad.
all the lies that are being spread right now, and it's so funny. Like they'll straight up they'll get asked a question, and then they'll like think about the question, and you get to see the truth that happens. Right? You get to see the exact dialogue that happened that night, and then as they come back to the interview, it's like, oh no, we're good. Everything's fine. Like, we're good. Nothing happened.
Bruh.
And it's up to Blanc to parse through it, to identify the truth, to find the truth, and to piece it all together. Because at this moment, it could literally be anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody could have killed him. They all have perfect motive, and they all have had opportunity to as well.
Yeah. Something that the interrogation scenes reminded me, so Isaiah, you'll appreciate this, was the interrogation scenes reminded me of the game Elo Noir.
Ah.
Because you see, like you said, you see everything that's the truth, everything. And then you see like the facial reaction, and then it's this whole lie.
Yeah.
And like Little Rabbit Trail, that game, you see that in that person you're interviewing.
They're like twitching or
They're
something.
like twitching or something. You could tell.
Yeah.
And
It's always super exaggerated.
It's so funny, and that I think that's something that I appreciated knowing that game and seeing this movie. I was like, oh, bro, you're so dumb.
Yeah. No, so do you have any other favorite scenes, or do you got? What do you
Actually,
got?
my next favorite scene is pretty deep in the movie. It's actually the will.
Oh, okay.
Reading the will.
Isaiah,
So
do
it's
you
up
have
to you.
any scenes?
So I fell into the hole of being so glued to the movie that I didn't write down any of my favorite scenes. I just wrote down tons of freaking bro moments. But I think this is going to be one of those movies that I return to, and I will only have like more favorite scenes the more that I rewatch it, because this movie has insane rewatchability.
Dude, I want to watch it again.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's very rewarding on a second watch because you get all the little clues and you can see how they fall into line. Although, even though you know, it's still incredibly complicated, like how all the pieces fall into place.
Yeah.
So I appreciated it even on a second watch. How did you guys feel about the pretty much the truth that Marta shares whenever she's being interviewed and she starts to tell her side of the story? Well, she starts to tell the story that Harlan told her to tell, but we get to see what truly happened in his little study room. How'd you guys feel about that scene?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was, well, the entire time too. I kept, because they whenever they're going through the interrogation scene, they keep saying like, I heard a kerplunk, and we keep getting told that it's the Go board that they're playing the games on. It fell over or something like that. And whenever we get to see that scene play out in real time and actually falls, like it doesn't make that noise. It falls like pretty softly actually on like some rugs. So there's no way like the board could have actually made that hard of a noise. And then like seeing the whole thing play out in real time, I mean, her accidentally giving what she thinks is 100 grams of morphine to him rather than 3 is a freaking huge bro moment in and of itself. And like him obviously being this like mystery novel writer, but coming up with this whole elaborate plan to be like, I have this idea where you'll never get caught, just leave me. You got to do exactly what I say though. And I thought it was really smart too, because we also get told that Marta can't tell a lie without throwing up.
Yeah, it's a little
Which almost it's Pinocchio's. It's the female version of Pinocchio.
right, nose growing.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that I think is super funny for her character, because she can obviously get put in some pretty tight spots. But what Harlan tells her to do is basically tell like fragments of the truth. Don't tell the whole truth. You can kind of hide some of it, and it's still like you still be telling the truth, but you're also kind of lying at the same time. But yeah, I enjoyed the whole actual telling of what actually happened there, and it was full of bro moments. And I mean, the fact that she has to like leave and then come back, climb up the truss thing, and then sneak back into the house, do a couple other things, and then sneak back out the other way. And she gets caught by the aunt, the great aunt, or is it Harlan's mom?
Yeah, it's Harlan's mom, and she's like, well, I don't even know. She's like, she's a fossil kind of. She doesn't say words.
She's a fossil. This scene, talking about the same scene, or the sequence, made me so mad because I was like, dude. Like when she gets confused if it's after or before the hippo, and she parks before the hippo,
or the elephant.
The elephant, yes, the elephant. I was like, I thought about it, and I was like, logically, it should be after. It should be after. There's no, like, and then she turns before, and I said, no. Like, oh, dude, I was so upset. It just makes me mad.
Yeah, I don't know. I kept this as my favorite scene because, we get this first image of Harlan being this dead brick, pretty much. But as we see his relationship through Marta and his relationship, like you get to see him being like funny, making jokes, like actually being a person, not just money bags. You know what I mean? He's like a legit person, and he has a great relationship with Marta. So it kind of is fleshing out his character a little bit, getting us to appreciate him for who he is, and also giving him motive for giving Marta everything at the end. For changing the will. Marta was the only one that wasn't taking advantage of him, the only one that was caring for him, the only one that like truly
Deserves it.
truly had like a relationship with him.
Yeah.
And it was really nice to see that, like, not only is he, like, he's not just dead the entire time. We don't know him. He's not just a name. He's like an actual funny guy.
Yeah.
Who truly, genuinely cares about Marta and her family. I really appreciated that about him. And it even kind of recontextualizes itself because, like, once you get to the ending, I don't know if I want to spoil it yet, but once you get to the ending, you realize that she actually did her job. And she actually gave him the correct dosages.
Oh, dude.
And it's like, so it truly, the thing of death is suicide because it is.
Yes.
It's but it sucks because
dude.
she was a good caretaker.
Yeah. And it makes it almost made me tear up when she goes, "It's not in here." Like
the naproxen or whatever
it was.
Yeah.
I was like, "No way, this is gonna happen." Oh, dude.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed it.
Well, you gotta take away the favorite scenes because my next one's pretty far in.
Yeah, no. So my next one is the will, actually.
Okay, and to me,
this one is great. I love how chaotic it gets after this.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna see if I don't have the quote down. So basically, the reading of the will is to see who gets obviously what Harlan left.
Right.
And it's quite a bit, obviously, from what we
Well,
can tell.
all the families gathered, and they're like, "Ooh, we get the house, we get $60 million, we get all this great stuff."
Yes, and then, like they say, like, oh, there was changes like a week before his passing. It was crazy, blah blah blah. And then there goes. He looks at the opens paper and he goes, "Look, it's gonna be very simple, it's very short and sweet." And then everybody gets up, and then they say, I wish I had
The actual
the actual
will.
thing. Yes.
I don't know what it says, but it's like all items therein in the house are written to Marta. What's her last name?
Yeah.
Cabrera.
She basically gets she gets the house, she gets the publishing company, she gets all rights to his books. She also gets everything that's currently in his bank account,
Which was $60 million.
Yeah,
That
she makes out with everything.
Like everything this family was gonna kill someone for,
Right.
or fight someone for, in that scene at least, is all hers.
Yep.
Someone who's not part of the family.
Well, here's the most ironic part about that. Throughout the scenes before this, they keep telling her, "Oh, Marta, come in, join us. You're like family with us.
You are family.
Like,
You
you
are.
I was
family."
so mad whenever they outvoted you to come to the funeral.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to, oh, you're just family, But whenever she gets all the money, they're like, "You're not family. Give us some money."
Yeah,
It's very ironic. and
It's not fair. No.
It's super shallow,
Yeah.
and
It's only for their benefit.
It is.
She's only family for their benefit, or when it benefits them.
yeah, and that even scene too when they are doing that whole after. I want to say it's a reception party type thing, and they're in this really heated political debate about having people cross the border illegally and stuff like that. Super cringy, but the Richard is the one that's saying we are Americans, and Americans, that's the law, and if they're breaking the law, they got to get sent back and all that stuff. And then he calls over Marta, not even knowing that who he's
Where is she really from, by the way?
They say all kinds of countries.
They say 4 different countries.
yeah. They say she's from Cuba, Ecuador, Paraguay, Uruguay, Brazil.
They say where she's from.
Yeah.
And I think that just goes to show that how much they actually really don't care about her.
Right.
They
Yeah.
don't care to know where she's actually from, because I believe she's a U.S. citizen. She's just a daughter of immigrants.
Yeah, I believe she's a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, so the Richard, who he's demonizing, is her mom, is Marta's mom, pretty much. And the thing that I hated most about that scene was he was trying to include her, trying to say oh, she's family and all that, and yet he hands her his plate. Did you notice that?
No.
Yeah.
They're talking, and as he's doing it, it's like oh no, you're just a maid. like subconsciously he's
Yeah.
treating her like the maid, you know.
Oh, that I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it's very like you can definitely it's like so
Condescending.
yeah, it's surface level stuff.
Dang.
And there's a specific scene about the will reading that I really enjoyed. It's after Marta gets everything, and the family is super pissed off. Marta, the Blanc tells her like, "You should probably go. They're really pissed. You should probably like run and get out of here." She goes out, and like they're swarming her. And at this moment, the camera is stationary and stable as it's following her out. And then as she's getting swarmed in, you can see that the camera physically gets picked up and is like starting to shake a little bit and starting to like get chaotic, just like how the situation is. And I really appreciated seeing that like little camera movement, because normally I hate shaky cam, but in this situation it's like, this is exactly the way I need to feel right now. I need to feel overwhelmed.
It's the only time it happens.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like that was one of the things I really liked too, Nick, was that the entire time the movie is so like, you can tell the camera's on a track. It's very calculated and all this stuff, especially with the camera movement and zooming in and stuff. But as soon as it gets chaotic and like our main character, who we think is, you know, sort of kind of getting in danger, that's when the action kind of style picks up and stuff starts really moving around and all that stuff. It's super cool.
Yeah, I really appreciated that. I saw that and I was like, that's so cool. Like, oh, it's cool. It's so like purposeful, which I think this film just solidifies throughout the whole thing. How'd you go? Okay, tell me how pissed you were whenever Marta was at her house. She was trying to leave out the back door and she gets stopped by Walt.
No, I wasn't pissed. I was more scared because I thought. So my original thought was he was the killer.
Oh, okay.
Well, that was weird.
Sorry about that.
I thought he was the killer.
Okay.
So obviously, no. Sorry, I ruined it, but it's not the end of the movie. But we know he's not the killer. Obviously, 'cause I just spoiled it.
How dare you?
So I thought he was there to kill her. Because if he's wild enough to show up to her house while all this is going on and almost threaten her, or her mom, basically, because he goes, I don't want to bring anything to the light. And
and the way that they like the camera movements too, when he's slowly taking steps of his cane, and it's just going doom, doom, like he's really an intimidating force right now, kind of cornering her back into her like she can't go anywhere.
Yes, and this is actually why I like it. My favorite scene.
Oh, okay.
Because he goes, we can keep that quiet with the amount of resources we have. We'll get you the lawyers. We'll get you from New York and this and this and that. And then she's like you said, she's cornered. And she goes and gives like the smirk and says, you mean with the resources that I have, I will get that taken care of.
Yeah.
I will do this. And backs up and closes the door on his face. And I was like, you go, girl. Yes.
Put him in his place.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I was annoyed by Walt and him like being so condescending to her when she's pretty much done nothing, you know. I don't know if you've got anything else, but my next one is pretty much the unraveling of the web and seeing what truly.
What about the car chase scene?
The car chase scene is in words of Officer Elliot.
Yes.
In words,
It's
if I
literally
can find
the
it.
dumbest car chase scene.
Literally
Yes.
the dumbest car chase of all time.
Yeah.
So I can care less about that
I
sign.
loved it for that. I loved that it would, you know, the film is able to. It's been funny up until this. Well, I mean, it's been funny the entire time, but it's able to kind of poke fun at itself and recognize that, you know, the main character, she's not in some super fast car. She's in the car that can top out at maybe 60 miles per hour.
Yeah, but it was a
And,
little
you know,
putt car.
Pathetic.
Yeah, and you know, the cops behind her can sit there and actually like keep up with her and be like, dude, what are you doing? Hey, answer your phone. I'm trying to talk to you. Are you trying to run? Like, this is ridiculous. And I mean, it gets into a huge bro moment too whenever we find out that Fran has been kidnapped by somebody and left
Dude.
at this address.
Oh
And
my gosh!
now Marta's medical bag is there at that address, and it looks like Fran is she's been dosed with something, like we don't know exactly what it is. She has that spider crawling on her eye,
dude,
which was
that's
super freaky.
so freaky. Because I know you hate spiders.
Yeah,
and
that whole scene too is just, it's funny, but it's also pretty high stakes as well, because she's told she has to meet this person here at this specific time. She keeps looking at the dash. It's like 9:56. She's got to be there in 4 minutes.
Pretty good.
I thought it was funny that he was singing in the car.
Oh yeah, like he was just
vibing,
grooving.
bruh.
He was
just
grooving
vibing.
back there, and then all of a sudden the ambulance
shows up out of nowhere, and he goes, "Oh my god!" Gets
Yeah.
out.
I just love Blanc as a character. Benoit Blanc.
Yeah, I love Blanc.
He's so charismatic, and it's almost like he's not a very good detective. It seems like, and yet he's the one that's able to be like, you think that what you've been told is filling up our donut perfectly, and yet there's a smaller donut inside that donut hole. There's another hole that needs to be filled, and he's like the only person that could think that deeply and that intensely about this.
I have that quote if you want to hear it.
Let's hear it, because I heard that they weren't even gonna put this quote in.
Really?
Yeah, I heard that they were about to cut it.
What? This is what it says. It says, "I spoke in the car about the hole at the center of this donut, and yes, what you and Harley did that faithful night seems at first glance to fill that hole perfectly. A donut hole in the donut's hole. But we must look a little closer. And when we do, we see that donut hole has a hole in its center. It's not a donut hole at all, but a smaller donut hole within its own hole of our donut hole is not whole at all."
It's like
that sounds like how much wood would a woodchuck wood. That's what that sounds like.
and it still makes sense though.
It makes sense.
Like it's very layman's terms saying we're not done here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Yeah, and I just put the end, pretty much the ending of Blanc like after that thing. It's when she's standing in front of the family. She's about to confess what she's done, because she thinks it's all her fault. And immediately Blanc comes up and he's like, "She will not be giving you your inheritance. You guys have treated her like crap, and you guys should all feel bad about what you've done."
Well, then that's because he read the toxology report, right? It's some type of report that he reads.
I don't remember.
Yeah, because the toxicology report is stashed where Fran hides her stuff.
Yes.
That was the motive, or that was like the
come to the
to come to the realization that it's not over yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Because that's the same scene that we're talking about. But that's why he stops it, because the toxicology report shows that she gave him the correct dose, and he was about to tell her, "I did this," and then he committed.
And he's like, no,
you gave him the correct dose, and then that's.
Well, here's what I really appreciated, because he pulls her aside. He tells one of the cops to go and get Ransom and to bring him in. And as he's talking to her, as he's kind of building up this narrative to the cops, he's wrapping these two bottles with tape or like a paper over the labels. Mm-hmm. We don't know why he's doing it, but he puts them both down, and Ransom comes in, and he starts to just lay into Ransom and say he's starting to lay out the exact plot of the night. It was not only Marta who was leaving up and going down the truss and coming back up and all that, because the dogs were barking. They had the old lady said, "Ransom, you're back again?" Like, she didn't say that all randomly.
Yeah.
So that ties all of the facts that we got tie back into what Blanc is saying. Mm-hmm. And Ransom's sitting there, and he's like, "That's a whole lot of accusations you're throwing around here. Like, I don't see what's going on."
Yeah.
And it's so rewarding to see all of the facts finally, coming together.
Find its place, almost like a puzzle, and you finally put the last piece on there, and you're like, yes, finally,
Yes.
it's all finished.
Yes, I loved that. I just loved seeing Ransom too, being like, he's like, kind of sweating in his pants a little bit. He's like,
he's
I'm
shaking
getting
in
caught
his
up.
boots for sure.
I'm getting caught up. And the whole time, Marta is like, you know what? That is making a lot of sense. Like, maybe I didn't do this. She's like, yeah, you know what? The naproxen bottle was gone. It should have been there. And she starts to realize, like, there's things that aren't lining up with how it went, how I think it went, right?
Yeah.
There's stuff that's not lining up. And the whole time, they get a call from the hospital to see if Fran's alive. And she has to kind of lie a little bit to be like, yeah, she's alive. And then Ransom is like, oh, okay, so I killed her, but I didn't. So he confessed. And then the whole bottle thing comes into play where he's like, can you go and get me some morphine? And she picks up the bottles, feels the viscosity of them, and sets it down and hands it to him. But there's no labels.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, you are such a good doctor. You've done this thousands of times that you know the slightest difference in these liquids. You know, because you are a good caretaker, that this is the morphine. Right? And then she's like, holy crap, it is. I must have done that the same night of Harlan's death.
And that's why he switched the labels.
Right.
Because she didn't even bother looking at him.
Well, he switched them, and she
Never
subconsciously switched them back.
Yeah.
So she gave him the correct dosage.
Yeah. And that's what we find out in that
That's
part.
like the biggest twist right there.
And that's when we find out that Ransom was the killer.
Mm-hmm.
He was trying to kill him
Yes. Well, he
Because-
did. He ended up doing it, and he
Yeah.
wanted to blame it all on Marta.
on Martha because that was the only what did he say? He's like the only way it was possible to get it done or something like that.
Yeah,
The
it kind
Slayer
of makes sense.
rule.
Yeah, the Slayer rule. That's what it is.
Yes. I don't know. I just found it incredibly satisfying. And
Yeah, I mean the actual end of the movie too is even super satisfying whenever Marta's sitting at the top with the mug that Harlan always used, where it says like "My house, my rules, my coffee" or something like that.
yeah.
And she's like using it, but she's covering up like everything else where the mug only says "My house," and she's like drinking, and then it cuts to Knives Out at the end.
Yeah. Oh, how'd you guys? Well, it might be a bro moment for you guys, but the end scene when he's like in for a penny, in for a pound, and he goes to stab her.
No, that was a big
Oh,
bro
yeah.
moment.
Was that a bro moment for you guys?
Yeah, because
Huge bro moment.
I was like, oh, okay, she's for sure done. Obviously, it's a backboard full of knives,
Hmm?
and then and we see her, and all you hear is the like you actually hear a gasp, and I was like, no, and then he lifts up the knife, and I said, and it reveals it's a fake knife.
Yeah.
I said, let's go, let's go.
I don't know if you guys caught it. It might have been a second rewatch type thing. Earlier in the film, you get a quote from one guy. I don't have the exact quote written down, but he says like, "Ransom, he's so unobservant that he wouldn't even know a real knife from a fake one." They literally
it's
say
a quote
that.
from Harlan.
Oh, really?
He says, there's so much of me in that kid. He's confident, stupid, I don't know, protected. He's playing life like a game without consequences until you can't tell the difference. And he grabs a knife out of the stand, and then he takes the knife out of its sheath, and he says, you can't tell the difference between a stage prop and a real knife. And then he stabs the knife into the table.
Right. That's supposed to be like a foreshadowing of the stabbing of the fake knife.
And
Yeah.
I didn't. There's no way I would have gotten that.
No, it's very subtle, but it's there. If you got nothing else, I mean that's pretty much the end of the.
That's pretty much Actually, I do want to talk about the favorite scene. The last scene is you see Ransom get carried away, and Richard is trying to act like a big old guy and be like, "Oh, we got to get a lawyer. We got to get a lawyer." All while Linda.
Yeah, Linda.
Linda this is actually, I want to talk about this because it blew my mind, and I finally pieced it. I pieced this part together. Was earlier on in the movie, Linda says she had her own game with her dad,
Mhm.
and then Isaiah even brought it up to me, was their own form of communicating. So you see in that at the end, she's burning the bottom of
Like
a paper,
the back of it.
the back of it,
Yeah.
and it's revealing something, which is revealing that Richard was is cheating on her.
Yeah.
And I when I saw that, I was like, finally, like she knows. And then it took me back to a scene early on in the movie, is when they're about to do the will, and Walt comes in and was like, "Are you okay?" And she's crying. She's holding a bunch of letters, and she flicks through them. You see you can see some empty ones in them.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I did not know that.
And that's something that I caught, because I was like, I thought that was weird. And then at the end, when you see her burn, I was like, that's their form of communicating.
So she just
I
has
was so happy I caught that, bro. So that's why I wanted to bring up the ending, because I was like, if you pay attention to the movie, you'll notice these small things. And then I noticed that, and I was like, I'm so glad I pay attention.
Yeah. This movie's very smart.
Yes.
It's very rewarding to see all of these random bits and pieces come together to form some complete, cohesive story.
Yes.
I love it.
I also loved seeing Martha just in a robe on the deck looking at the family.
She won.
With the cup from the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
My house, my rules, my coffee.
She won not by playing Harlan's game or Ransom's game, but by being a genuinely good person.
And playing her own version.
And playing her own game, which is why she deserves that inheritance, which is why she deserves all that she gets.
Yeah.
I love it.
Such a good movie.
Yeah. Really enjoyed it. Isaiah, do you have anything else to add there?
No, we'll probably dive into the bulk of what I've got in bruh moments.
Mhm.
Okay, well then let's get on into best quotes then.
I only have 2.
Okay.
Oh, you want me to say them?
Start with one.
My first one is the first time that Martha's getting interviewed. She lies and pukes, okay? And she's about to go back into the house, and Daniel Craig's character, Blanc, he goes, whoa, 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 where are you going? And I don't know why I wrote it down, but it made me laugh. She goes, I just want to go get some scope.
Yeah.
And I was like, bruh. Like, I don't know why, it just made me laugh.
Yeah.
I also just want to hit real quick. Anna de Amon, if you ever come across this podcast,
You're not doing this.
I love you. And marry me. I just gotta say it right now. She can get it. And that's my first quote.
Okay. Very long quote. I have one very quickly from Linda Drysdale. She says, when the will is read and they realize Martha's getting everything, she goes, "Were you boinking my father?" Oh, and I was dying laughing when she was like, "Boinking? What are you talking about? Why are you saying that word?" Very funny.
Yeah. The only ones that I have actually were the one where Benoit Blanc is talking about the whole donut hole in the donut hole type thing.
Yep, AB stole
But then I
that
have
one.
another one where it's an interaction between Marta and Benoit. And Marta says, "You're not much of a detective, are you?" And then Benoit says, "Well, to be fair, you make a pretty lousy murderer."
Oh.
Clap that.
Yeah. And then the last one I have, it was just something that made me laugh during the whole interview scene. Walt being interviewed, and he gets questioned about his son, Jacob. And he says, "My son, Jacob, he's 16. He's very politically active." And then the camera cuts to Richard, and he said, "The boy's literally a Nazi." and then it cuts to Meg again, and then she says, "He's an alt-right dipstick troll." And then Walt comes back in, and he says, "Kids today with the internet, it's amazing."
He's oblivious.
Super
He's like,
funny.
he's got like blinders on.
Yeah.
My last one that I have is when Martha is escaping everybody from the will, and you just hear Linda say something, and then Richard say. So Linda goes, "Why couldn't you stop her car?" And Richard goes, I don't know why. He goes,
I doubted this.
"What am I supposed to do? Grab the bumper with my teeth?"
Yeah.
Bruh.
We died.
I don't know why. Again, my favorite quotes were just things that caught me super off guard and made me laugh.
Yeah, my last one is similar to that. It's when Ransom comes in and they're all getting into a heated argument, and he sits down and he goes, "You know what? Eat crap, eat crap, eat crap, eat crap, eat crap, eat crap." And he's pointing at all of them, and then the whole family gets wild, and then you hear Walt go, "I will not eat one iota of crap." And I died laughing when I heard that, dude. It was so funny.
Yeah.
But that's the last
That's
quote
it
for
from
me.
Do you got anything left, Isaiah?
No, that's it for quotes.
Okay, fact with the bros, bring it in.
Facts already?
Yes. What have
Alright.
you? Oh wait.
No, bro
Oh,
moments first.
You
You're
gotta
right.
Get that bro moment.
Isaiah, hit us off with some bro moments.
So, my first one was Richard lying about cheating, but after that, he finds out. He goes into Harlan's office and he sees that there's a letter with a big L, on the envelope. He opens it up, and that's the first part where it's kind of towards the beginning of the film where we see that the letter's empty. Like there's nothing on it but just that big fat rose in like the top left corner. And so my first thought whenever he opened that up was like, oh, he was bluffing the entire time.
Oh.
Like he was wanting him to go tell her that he knew he was cheating, but he didn't actually have anything on him.
That would have been pretty.
That would be good.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting thought.
My first one
Yeah. Also, or go ahead.
was not knowing Nana's age.
Yeah, did no one know?
No one knows her age.
She's got to be. She's
90.
She's at an age where she just doesn't care, bro.
No, she's 90.
Like they straight up told
She's
her.
got to be older than that. Because
yeah.
Harlan celebrated his 85th birthday.
Oh, I mean, she had her at 5 years.
No, she has to be. Like maybe. Like, well, if you think had him when she was 20, she would at least be 100.
No, she's 100 for sure. But those girls had babies when they were 16. So
100 plus.
True.
she's 100. She's like 104.
She's at an age where she don't care.
She's at an
Like-
age. She's at an age where we see her poop her pants. We're like, oh, she's old. It's okay.
She don't care. Yeah. Didn't they say too like, oh, she's not hungry. She literally ate the entire salmon platter
Yeah,
or
something
something
like that.
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah, it was just funny. She's like, I don't want to say it, but I want to say it. No, I don't want to get canceled. I can't.
She's just old.
She's old.
Leave it at that. My
She's
bro-
going chocolate. Selling chocolate.
she's dried out, man.
She's fried.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, since you say that, I'm gonna say what I said. She's just a waste of space at that time.
Oh, that's too far.
Is it?
Yes.
Dried out, waste of space.
That's too far. Old people still are valuable.
Bro, Abraham's ageist.
Ah, shut up. I'm not trying to get
Whenever I
My
turn-
next bro moment is actually
Okay,
whenever
go.
we find out that Blanc was being hired anonymously.
Dude, who do you think hired him?
Ransom.
It's Harlan. Harlan's the one. Or Harlan. Not
Oh,
Harlan. Ransom.
duh.
Ransom.
Duh.
Yeah, he calls Ransom out for doing it. It's the only one who knew that there was a crime, and who knew who did it, and all that.
Yeah, because that's true. Why else would you need a private investigator?
You wouldn't. He just wanted Marta to be caught.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the cops ruled it immediately a suicide. So
Well,
Because-
they would have known if Marta didn't do all she did.
yeah.
Then they would have immediately been like, "Oh, it's the caretaker.
Yeah.
We're not even going to think two things about this."
True.
Send her to
True. True.
jail. My stuff's not till later.
Another one for me. Oh, go ahead, Nick.
No, they're not till like at the end of the film, so you can keep going.
I was gonna say Marta and the dogs walking through the mud whenever
I was
whenever
like,
Blanc says not to.
I was happy for that. I got something that freaking Richard says. It's a quote that he says, and it's a big bro moment. And he goes, I like a motto. He goes, it's immigrants. We get the job done.
Alexander.
Yeah, and I was like, no, he said Hamilton,
Yeah,
bruh.
Hamilton. Yeah,
He said
Alexander
Hamilton, and I was like, bruh, this fool really just said this.
Yeah, I think it's in the play Hamilton.
He's quoting Hamilton.
Yeah.
Is it really in it?
I haven't watched it in a long time. It's 3 hours long. There's a lot of songs, so
Yeah.
probably somewhere in there.
What about whenever Ransom makes Marta eat in order to make her tell the truth at the restaurant?
Oh, like all the baked beans and sausage.
Yeah, and then he like slyly asks for an extra bowl and makes her eat, and then once he does, he slides the bowl in front of her and is like, "You're gonna tell me everything because I know you'll throw it all up."
Oh,
Like, if you lie to me.
That was a big, yeah.
I
That's a
guess
bummer.
now that I think about it, that's kind of foreshadowing his cleverness. Because at this moment, you don't know really what Ransom. At
you
this
don't know
moment, you
what
think
he
he's a savior, pretty much. Because as she's getting overwhelmed with all the family, he's the one that's like, "Hey, get in the car, I'll save you." And he takes her there,
Yeah.
orders her food.
Yeah, because he says some stuff like he says something like along the words like, "You know, a lot of things like you talk to my grandfather, but like alone, like you got to know something."
Right, and then they talk about the go.
Yeah.
And how he's distraught about not being the only one to be able to beat him at go. But there's a little bit of foreshadowing there because he's very creative at backing her into a corner and really pushing her.
The whole family is.
That's true. But
Um,
Ransom especially with that extra bowl, I thought it was...
Yeah. A Brahman before that scene was the car getting tampered with for her not being able to leave.
The car?
Yes, when she's trying to leave from the will.
It was tampered with?
Well, she couldn't turn. It wouldn't turn on.
Oh, that's true.
And
Maybe
then-
because it was just a piece of crap?
No, because he picks her up, and then she has the car.
Oh.
Not like a day. Not even a day after.
So you think that he done
I
something...
think he did. I think he did that to the car to come pick her up.
I actually believe that. I didn't even think anything about that, but it would make so much sense for his plan to work.
Yeah,
Love that.
that was a big moment for me.
Okay. My next one is burning the hospital.
The
Yeah.
the clinic.
That's pretty insane, right?
You gotta be down bad for that.
Like,
Yeah, you're committing multiple felonies to try to stop it from coming to light.
that was pretty crazy.
Imagine. Oh, bro.
The last one I had was finding out that Marta actually gave Harlan the correct doses, despite despite Ransom switching the labels on the bottles.
Yeah.
Truly was a suicide at that moment. No drugs involved.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
So crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. My last one, dude. Marta barfing on Ransom at the end. Tell me that wasn't like
Yeah.
nasty but satisfying.
It was satisfying because I was like, he used her weakness against herself, and now she used her weakness on him,
Right.
and I was like, heck yeah.
Loved it. And then fake knife. Great callback to that quote. Yeah, but that's all I got for bro moments. What about you?
The ending was a bro moment for me when Linda burns the note,
Oh, okay.
and that's when she realizes that
Cheater McCheaterson.
he was cheating.
Yeah. All right. Is that it for you, Isaiah?
Yeah, that's everything on my list here, too.
Okay, so now
Now we're at the quotes, and I'll hit you with the budget.
the quotes. We're at the facts. You can tell that we're professionals here.
Yeah. I'll hit you with the facts, and I'll start you with the budget. So to make this movie, it was $40 million estimated. Opening weekend, it was $26.7 million. Gross for U.S. and Canada was $165.3 million, and gross worldwide was $312.8 million.
312 and you said it was 60. How much was the initial budget?
40.
40. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was a success.
It's a great success.
Nice. Rian Johnson. 3 movies I think he's trying to do from this. Not necessarily the same. Well, it is the same universe because it's the same.
Is the first one the same universe?
It's the same universe obviously because it's the same detective, but he's going to different mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one obviously is in this mansion. The second one is on a island, and the third one I don't think we have any information about.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, I can't wait for you guys to try out Glass Onion. Glass Onion is it's got a lot of the same DNA as this one, which I really enjoyed.
I'm trying to find the third one, the first one. What's it called?
The first one we just literally were talking about it. Knives Out.
Really?
Knives Out. That's what this is called.
That's the first one?
Yeah, the first one.
I thought there was one before Knives Out.
Nope. First one, and then it's Glass Out. It's Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery. Was the second one.
Oh, I'm dumb. I thought there was one before Knives Out.
Anyways, we were questioning about the piano tone and what that had to do with the interviewers or whatever. Well, every time Benoit Blanc hits the piano key, it's a cue for the detective to ask them about the time they arrived to the party.
Oh.
He did this in order to find out if they had any motives. So it was, Isaiah, you're right, it was a cue to ask a certain question. And that question was, when did they arrive?
Yeah. I actually have down here, too, that this movie was Oscar nominated in 2019.
Again, but it's that year. It's that 2019 year.
Yeah, I don't blame this one for
Yeah.
not winning, but...
No, yeah, it got nominated for Best Original Screenplay alongside Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite, but ultimately lost to Parasite.
Of
yeah,
course.
I don't blame him. I mean, that's such a hard choice, but...
I think if Parasite wasn't in there, I think it could have won. No, I feel like a lot of people would have voted for Marriage Story.
Marriage Story was good, too.
Either that or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is crazy good.
Isn't it weird to think that we have an episode on all of those movies?
We do.
Literally all of those movies.
Yeah, we do.
That year was crazy for
I
us.
thought this one was kind of mind blowing for me. So due to limited resources, which kind of blows my mind because it's a $40 million budget. So how was there limited resources? The American Humane Association did not monitor some of the dog action.
They just said, all right,
They
take
were just
them.
like, okay. They said, sorry, Peter, we don't see anything.
Say whatever. Just don't kill him. I
Yeah,
don't
they said,
care.
just don't kill him.
We need him back at the end of the day. That's crazy.
I have one actually in regards to Jacob's line where he says, "You had sex with my grandpa, you dirty anchor baby." That line was actually improvised by the actor there. His name is Jaden Maytrell, but it was originally lost in the scene since multiple characters were talking and yelling over one another. And Michael Shannon was the one who pointed it out and approached Rian Johnson, telling him that, Marcel had a killer line. So they went back and made sure to include that in the reshoot of that scene.
Wow. That's pretty
Wow.
crazy. Pretty crazy. What else you got, AB?
I only had one fact in the budget.
Oh, okay. Well, I read, too, it was really surprising to hear that the portrait of Harlan Thrombey wasn't even completed until the end of the film. So all the times we see that portrait, it's like a effect.
Really?
Yeah. That's why at the very end you see him, instead of him being that like real, somber face, at the very end he's smirking. Did you notice that at the very end?
No.
He's got a little bit of a smile.
No.
Yeah. That's the reason why.
What?
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, another fact. The portrait painting of Harlan changes to reflect the situation, culminating in a beaming smile at the end. So, pretty interesting there.
That's about it
Yeah.
for me. Everything else that I have written down, we've kind of already spoken about.
Yeah.
Yeah. that's it
Ryan
for me.
Johnson, man, he's crazy. Very articulate when it comes to details of this film. So what do we have next here? What doesn't work for you guys? Do you have anything written down here?
I don't have anything. My
got
hands are
nothing.
empty.
Okay, I have only two things. First one, I didn't really like the car chase scene. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, but it's
I didn't really like it. I did like that, they were able to poke fun at it and be like, bro, that was so stupid. And I also...
Yeah, I mean, they even try to call her Baby Driver.
Yeah, that was a little like... I did not like Fran's dying scene.
why?
I thought it was super overacted. When she was like going, you did this. And like going, I don't know. I really think the whole Fran plotline in this is kind of like a curveball that no one could really guess, and therefore it makes it less like interesting because you would have like I couldn't even think about the brain
Who
power.
is Fran?
Fran is I actually think she's the help.
She's the help.
Yeah, because
She was the only one that would call Ransom by his actual name,
by
which is
Hugh. Yes, that's why she's not saying you did this. She's
Hugh
saying
did
Hugh did this, and I don't know. I think the brain power you gotta have.
Oh, and the cop. I just thought about it. I said, "There's a scene when Martha shows up and the cop goes, "Are you the help?"
Yeah, and of course Meg is like, don't call her
Yes,
that.
yes. I'm just trying to piece it together because now that I'm thinking about it, I was like, "Who the heck is Fran? Like,
Right.
what is she?"
I don't know.
I know her from the Righteous Gemstones.
Oh,
And she that actress that plays her, she's funny, but she's also pretty eclectic. So I think she kind of that might just be her style or something like that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That was one thing that didn't work for me. I was a little bit drawn out, and I was drawn out of the film, and I was like, man, they kind of like threw her in as this like Hail Mary, like we need something to cover this plot hole, and Fran's perfect for it. And find pretty interesting ways to tie her in, but still, that part of the mystery didn't feel very satisfying to me.
that makes sense. No, I can understand that,
But, I mean, if that's it for what didn't work,
bro. Let's get into what did work.
what do we got?
The first thing that I wrote down was, dude, this cast is stacked, and I love it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
here, I'm just gonna read off some of the names because we haven't said who really is
Right.
in this.
Only a couple.
Only a couple. We have Daniel Craig, Chris Evans, Anna de Armas, Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael Shannon. Those are the big names. Lakeith Stanfield. Some names that you might know is Catherine Langford, who plays Meg, Christopher Plummer, Toni Collette.
I was about to say, don't leave Toni Collette out, dude.
Toni Collette's
She's goated.
She's from Hereditary,
Hereditary.
and she kills in Hereditary.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, they worked so good. Like this cast was perfect.
Yeah, I love the casting. I think every single character has specific like traits that each one was able to possess perfectly. Like,
Yeah.
I loved Michael Shannon as Walt, as this like cane-bearing man, like kind of real not sure of himself because he's always been under the shadow of his father. Like, I think Michael Shannon plays that perfectly, and I love Daniel Craig's like this. I think they call it the foghorn, leghorn, southern drawl or something like that.
Southern,
Yeah.
Oh gosh, what is it? Southern Charm? No, it wasn't Southern Charm.
I don't know. I don't even know what accent that is, but I love that character
I
trait
love
of
it.
his. There's so many good characters here, and I just think that the casting here was perfect.
Yeah, I think it was worked
Yeah.
out perfectly.
Yeah, I agree. I also just love Daniel Craig's accent.
Yeah, seriously.
And seeing him, like, knowing that man is British and him having this, like, there's a donut hole in the donut, like, doing this whole, like, southern accent that he does is great. And you guys hit it on the head. The casting and the acting here is just spot on.
I love the cinematography. I think like we've been talking about a couple of times throughout our discussion here, it's so purposeful. Every single like scene that the camera is placed, I just feel like is perfectly placed. They really cared a lot about the lighting. Like, there's a specific scene where the camera is pointing right at Linda, and you would see in her reflection the camera and the lighting and all that. But they meticulously like built half of the set that they could come in so it would reflect the natural light, so you wouldn't get the camera and all the
What the
equipment.
heck?
Yeah, they really painstakingly went through and made sure each thing was right where it should be and natural, which I really appreciated, and I definitely noticed throughout the film.
Wow, I would have never noticed that.
Yep.
Something that I really did like was something that I don't usually hit on is the writing, the storytelling of this movie works out so well that like I could rewatch this movie just because of how they told this movie, not because how they showed it, but how they told it, and I really really enjoyed everything they were saying. It was phenomenal. The writing is phenomenal in this movie.
Yeah, I agree with Abe too. I think it's incredibly smart and it's a ton of fun. Like, there are very few movies that I think I've had a lot of fun with within the past couple of years, or like a movie that I can have a ton of fun with watching it with my family, and then like I kind of wish I went to the theaters to see this and hadn't slept on it for so long, because this would have been such a fun movie to like go to dinner after and just sit there with your buddies and just talk about what it was that you saw and just have fun and hash it out and like do what we're doing here, but with one another over a burger or something.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to do it for the third one.
Oh, true. Hey, I'd be down. I'd be really down.
2024.
We're
We got
in
a
it.
date.
Yeah, and I also have to say that, like I've already mentioned, the movie has insane rewatchability.
Oh,
Like
it's insanely rewatchable.
the movie will not be going anywhere. That's for sure. Like, this is a movie that I think will be talked about for a good chunk of time.
I feel like even some movies might take inspiration of this type of movie and even make more whodunit movies.
Yeah.
Because is there any more movies that are like this?
I mean, there's a good handful of like whodunits out there, but this is definitely one of the better modern takes of a whodunit film, I would say.
Yeah. I personally don't know about any more whodunits. So for me, it was just nice to see this type of movie, this type of scenario put into a movie.
I would say like that, and like a movie like The Departed, like that's a great whodunit too.
Yeah,
as well.
like a cat and mouse
it's
type
kind of like a
chase.
rat
But
and
I
mouse
feel like The
type.
Departed is way more complex than this movie.
Yeah, they both have similarities, but yeah, it's a little different situation. But I think the success that this film had, I think it really is it goes to show that this genre or this murder mystery type genre actually is something that people are willing to watch and worth spending their money to go and watch or stream it. I definitely know I was more than loving it when I first watched it, and I was definitely excited to watch the second time. And I think Isaiah hits it on the head. It's just enjoyable.
Yeah.
Like, afterwards, I wanted to text you guys like all the craziness, but I just straight up said like, I forgot how enjoyable that movie was. Like, the whole time I was tested, I was tense, I was happy, I was laughing, I was sad in some parts. Like, it kind of has that perfect blending of all the genres where you just are at the very end, you're like, that was a ride and it was so fun to be on, and even though I wasn't able to solve the murder, I still had a great time watching it.
Yeah, I was upset that I couldn't solve the murder.
Yeah.
I was upset.
And I hope this really pushes you guys to watch Glass Onion, because it does, like I said, it has that same DNA. Benoit Blanc is there. His character is like it never skipped a beat from this movie. There's a whole brand new cast with, again, it's more stacked people. It's got Dave Bautista. It's got Edward Norton. It's got all kinds of good. Edward Norton
has a lot of people in it.
Yeah, Edward Norton's in it. Gosh, I can't remember all of them by name now.
I know.
Janelle Monáe.
She's in it. They've got Ethan Hawke for a split second in it. Gosh, it's and there's plenty of mystery.
Kate Hudson. What the
Jeez.
heck?
Plenty,
Ethan Hawke.
plenty of mystery to go around. I feel like if you really enjoyed this one,
Serena Williams is in this movie.
she is.
Karina. Excuse me, a lot of people are gonna give me crap now for this. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is in this movie,
Yep.
and I called him Karina. Sorry.
But I can't say. Well, I'm not gonna bias you guys anything. If we ever do get to that episode, we can talk. We can compare and contrast what we like more and what we didn't like, or which one we like better.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
yeah,
If that's it for what did work, who wins the movie?
I got to say one more thing.
oh,
hear it.
Or I guess we can. It can kind of get thrown into the who wins this category because Daniel Craig's fits go off, dude.
oh, his like suits and all that.
Yeah.
So
the
you
whole
like the
Tweety look
costume
and
design?
just his whole look of everything. I loved it. I couldn't take my eye off of just his whole persona and yeah, his whole fits go off. He's one of the people that wins the movie as well as Ana de Armas. They both kill it.
Yeah, I put Daniel Craig and then Ana de Armas under, and I almost put her above just because she deserves all the attention she can get.
You got a crush.
A crush that I'll never be able to fulfill.
Yeah, that's true. I put Daniel Craig.
Yeah,
he kills it.
Bro, he kills it. It's like Isaiah said earlier on. It's so funny to see an Englishman, speaking English
It's
in
like
a southern accent.
yeah, it's like
Because
real long.
I said Englishman because he's from England, and like, yeah,
Yeah, he's almost got like kind of like a Cajun accent. Like
yeah, he has like the southern charm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He says like the y'alls and the yours and
he's real
Gator
slow
Dones in my
hitting
series.
the donut. You know, he's got like, and he's smoking on cigars. Like he's
dude,
just kind of like
that's a cool cigar.
It is,
Actually,
yeah.
it's so skinny but long.
skinny but long.
Shut up.
It's my nickname in high school. Oh, that's out of pocket, huh? Oh, anyways,
I wasn't expecting that.
let's get into some themes. What have you guys got? This is a movie that's
Unthemable.
unthemable.
I said and I didn't write
Yeah.
anything because I think, and this is my statement on this movie. So I'm not gonna say there is a theme for this movie. There is no theme, unless you like really dig deep. I think this movie is solely for entertainment.
Entertainment.
I think maybe it could be boiled down to like, the actual good people will always prevail. Like Marta did nothing but actually just form a relationship with Harlan and got rewarded for it. Like Harlan's family this entire time, their relationship with him was always so surface level, just to get the things from him that they wanted. It was never really about, loving you as like a father or a grandpa or anything like that. It was because you have these things, they help me live the way I want to live, so I'm just going to keep being around because you can give them to me.
Right. And not only do they take, but they take more than what he's giving them. Like they steal from him pretty much.
But she was double dipping.
Exactly. And Marta is the only person in his life who cares nothing about his wealth or anything like that and genuinely just wants his friendship. And he sees that and sees the good in her, and she ultimately gets rewarded for that. So I think, maybe one moral of the story could be be the good you want to see in the world, or some, generic message like that.
If you want to hear a generic message, I got you. Ready? In a world that you can be anything, be kind.
Be a goldfish, as Ted Lasso would say.
Oh, true. Be a goldfish. That's a good one. Yeah. I'm just going to have to agree with you guys. I didn't write anything down, but there's probably something there.
There's probably
something like all of the curtains were blue, and that represents the sadness and dreariness of our society. You know what I mean? Like, there's probably something like that, but I straight up say, no, those curtains are blue, man. Move on.
They're actually gasoline blue, okay?
Oh,
or
my.
whatever. Just be super precise.
Yeah.
Actually, it shows the male toxicity and how Ransom thought that he could get away with everything just because he was,
Yeah, it's like
something ridiculous like that.
yeah. So that's all I've got for theme. What do we rate in this movie?
You guys go first.
I gave it a 9.
A 9.
Yeah, I enjoyed this movie a lot.
Okay. Oh, it's hard. It's really hard to rate this one. I think I'm gonna give it a 9 as well.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it.
I thought you were going to give it a 10.
No 10 for me. But I think a 9 is it might be a little high, but I really like.
No,
this.
I don't think it's high. Mm-mm.
It's not.
Yeah,
No, 9 all award around.
9 across. the
it's a
board.
great movie. It's definitely not a 10, but
It's
it,
not a
it
10,
is worth
but-
the watch.
Like, yeah, 100%, Isaiah. I couldn't agree with you more.
All right, 9s across the board. That's crazy. And that's it. That's all we've got for this episode.
That's Knives Out.
Yeah. Isaiah usually does this part. What do I?
Yeah, it's the end of the episode. So if you guys, want to subscribe to the channel, do it. If you want to like the videos, do it. It helps us out. Comment. Let us know what you guys are thinking. Hopefully next week I'll be back in the room with you guys, so that way we can, not have to have all this interference. But yeah,
We miss you. But yeah, like, just going off of what Isaiah said, like, really, if you like what we're doing, just give us a like and review, and just give us a like on YouTube.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Share with your friends and family. We are pretty much family friendly. Like, we don't.
We try our best to
Yeah,
be.
we try
Sometimes
our
we get a
best.
little rowdy, but we try our best to be,
Yeah, like,
clean.
If somebody tells me what I like to do with, like, all my spare time, or like what do I do, I will always mention that I have a podcast, just to even do like a little shameless plug, because like we built this community that we have. So yeah, like Isaiah said, just we appreciate you guys, what you do.
Yeah.
And
and for those of you that aren't subscribed, subscribe. I looked at that graph. 97% of y'all are not subscribed.
97% of y'all.
That's
Come
pretty
on,
crazy,
man.
I will say.
Let's get it to like
There's only
60%.
like 2 point something percent of y'all are subscribed.
Come on.
And one of those is probably me.
No, really?
I watch every week, so
But you're not subscribed?
no. I know. I'm saying I am subscribed.
Oh yeah, and one of those is me too.
Yes. Oh.
No.
Oh, no. Anyways, thanks for joining us
Yeah.
today. It is
My pick.
Abraham's pick next week. What have you got for us?
I'm actually going to choose a film that I've been wanting to watch. It. I would consider it a classic. I think some people might consider it a classic. And I'm ready. I don't think you've ever seen it, Nick.
I know you probably have it written down. I haven't looked at it, so this will be new to me.
Yes. So it's a 1983 film with Al Pacino, Scarface.
Scarface. Yeah, I have never seen this movie.
Man, from saying we're family friendly to going to a Scarface.
About a crazy coke dealer who
Yeah.
kills.
So this movie actually let me down. It was streaming on Netflix, but they took it off.
No, did they?
So it's not. It's
It's
not
streaming currently on Tubi.
on Tubi.
Tubi. I might have to get a free subscription to
or
try
you
it.
might have to rent it.
I have
unfortunately.
it physically, and I also have it digitally, so you guys can borrow it if you'd like.
Ooh. Goated.
That is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
with
but it's Al Pacino's kind of claim to fame. This movie is like iconic in its own right. Everyone always says, "Say hello to my little friend."
or you want to play rough?
they're-
Let's play rough. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's iconic. I remember watching it the first time. I've only watched it once, but this movie is, yeah. I mean, it's iconic. It's a gangster movie, and it has a lot of lore behind it, and like the whole development process and everything like that, and getting it submitted to like the MPAA. Like, I think they had to submit it like I don't even know. I don't want to say the actual number and be wrong, but like this movie was going to be rated X, and then they had to like submit it a ton of times and cut stuff out so that way it can get the R rating that they wanted. And yeah, it's a pretty wild movie.
Jeez.
Yeah, like I said, and like he said, it is a pretty wild movie. But it's a movie that I've been wanting to watch again for a while, and I don't remember much. There's a little bit that I remember, but it's only like scenes that like Isaiah and I have talked here and there. So it's not much. I can't wait for you to watch the bathroom scene.
Dude.
I can't wait because I know I guarantee you. I'll bet you $5 right now.
Yeah,
you're
that
not-
scene's wholesome.
It's
You'll
so
love it.
good, dude.
Wholesome.
dude.
I don't believe this.
No, it's the best scene. It's the best scene of the movie.
Do I've got a lot coming for me right now?
No,
Y'all got, what does that lady say? You've got a big storm coming.
it's such a good scene, bro.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
But yeah, with that being said, come back again next week to see and hear what we have to say about the movie Scarface. Thank you, and have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.